Well, Trek to Yomi is a long-awaited indie game homage to samurai movies in side-scrolling form. Visually, the game is absolutely stunning, and the story certainly has its moments. However, the combat and exploration is pretty lackluster and overly simple, which unfortunately doesn't manage to retain my attention for long periods of time. While the gameplay doesn't quite do it, the visuals and the overall presentation of the game make it a worthwhile title to try, but you're going to have to wait and see if this is enough to grab your attention for the long haul. Well, Trek to Yomi is a stylish game, so it's set in a black and white world, inspired by samurai movies of the past, so much so that even the aesthetics of the old black and white film grain has been built in. The visuals aren't the only thing that looks back to the past though. The delivery of the audio is timed much like the old movies, it's slow and it's paced accordingly. Well, the story isn't too surprising for the genre. It's a revenge quest with the main protagonist having to choose between his duty and what he wants to do. Similar to the recent Sifu, where you have a flashback and attack during a childhood scene, and that sets up the revenge tale nicely. Trek to Yomi doesn't stray from the old script of classic samurai stories, and most big scenes can be telegraphed. However, that isn't such a bad thing because you know exactly what you're going to get story-wise, and the game really does deliver. In terms of the action in the game, you're going to be wandering around taking care of enemies with your sword. Combat itself is very simple. You've got a light attack, a heavy attack, a parry, and also some ranged weapons too. You can unlock new attacks as progress in the game, but these don't take very long to get, and that's your lot for the rest of the game. So once you've got all the tools to take on the enemies, then the game tends to become overly simplistic and also less challenging. On the upside, it does mean you can focus on the story element in the game, however the combat is a little bit lackluster. It just becomes a little bit samey as you progress through the game, and your skills don't really progress with you. Much of the discovery of new abilities happens early in the game, and that leads to a stagnation of attention in the latter parts. Combat doesn't always reach the heights of the game like Hollow Knight or Dead Cells. It's passable, but nothing you're going to write home about. One exception to the less than exciting combat rule is the boss battles. So here you're going to meet a new enemy. They tend to have huge health bars and their own unique attack patterns, similar to Metroid Dread or other 2D side-scrolling action games. The bosses do force you to mix things up when it comes to attacking strategies and also surviving, as some of the bosses are certainly no joke. As they should be, bosses account for the major roadblocks in Trek to Yomi. Unfortunately, there aren't too many bosses in the game. More of them would have kept things feeling fresh and more challenging, but there's simply not enough of them to keep things interesting. To pair up with the combat, there's also the exploration part of the game. Unfortunately, it's fairly slim pickings as well when it comes to the exploration or the puzzles. Solutions are fairly straightforward, and the environments don't really offer up anything new to the experience, meaning the reward for the exploration just isn't really there. There's some side quests too, although once again they are quite straightforward, simple and similar to one another. Whereas in some games the side quests take centre stage to add more to the overall story and experience of the game, here in Trek to Yomi they are just another way to spend a few minutes. Trek to Yomi is a visually stunning game, but unfortunately the whole experience is let down by the simple combat and the shallow exploration and the side quests. If you're a fan of the samurai genre and you like side-scrolling combat games, then this is worth giving it a go. On the plus side, it looks great, the story has its moments, but I don't think it's got the sticking power to be a memorable entry for 2022. Well, the game was developed by Flying Wild Hog. It was published by Devolver Digital. It's out on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, the Series X and the Series S, and also PC too. I played it and reviewed it for PC Game Pass, and it was originally out on the 5th of May, 2022. Well, that is my thoughts about Trek to Yomi. A little bit hit and miss, does look absolutely beautiful, but the combat and the exploration didn't really do it for me, which is a bit of a shame. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. Hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again. I'll see you soon.